Shalom, brothers and sisters. So, some South African international news. This is just hilarious. I'll give you some South African feedback on this as well. Poland, South Africa degenerate into diplomatic disaster. The widening rift between South Africa and Poland threatens to collapse relations that have been cordial since they were established between the two nations more than 3 decades ago. The fallout which came to the fore this past weekend reflects how countries are getting caught up in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the broader geopolitical rivalries. Last Thursday, Polish authorities detained at Warsaw-Chopin Airport a plane carrying members of the South African security team of President Cyril Ramaphosa, who was part of a delegation of African leaders on a peace mission to Russia and Ukraine, which in itself is hilarious. Poland's Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated the situation resulted from a failure to comply with standard entry procedures required by the Polish side. The statement added that dangerous goods, that is the term they use for guns and weapons, were on the plane and representatives did not have permission to bring it in. Makes sense. In addition, there were persons on board the aircraft whose presence the Polish side had not been notified of beforehand. This is the Foreign Affairs Ministry stating that there were actually journalists on board. The ministry implied that South Africa had been defiant considering 3 consultation meetings were held and representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs remained in constant contact with South Africa's advanced team of President Ramaphosa's office in the South African Embassy in Warsaw. The South African side had been informed of all formalities necessary for the delegation's entry into Poland and the required transport permits. The South African delegation, again, was quoted as accusing Poland of racism. Of course. The plane never reached its intended destination, Russia and Ukraine, and instead was scheduled to return to South Africa over the weekend, which it did. The plane drama in Warsaw came in the wake of reports of South Africa's decision to ban arms sales to Poland. It was argued Poland would support Ukraine with these arms to support Ukraine against Russia. Critics of Ramaphosa's African National Congress, the ANC, argue that the move was influenced by a need by South Africa to maintain relations with Russia, whose relations with Poland are at an all-time low. That I can tell you is factually correct. We've got to stay in good graces with Russia because Russia and China pretty much own us. Ramaphosa was part of a 7-member team of African heads of state and top envoys that embarked on the mission to Russia and Ukraine. Africa's falling apart. People are fighting and killing their own people. They're committing genocide against different races. They're murdering farmers by the bucket loads here in my country and not talking about it, but we want to go and broker peace between Ukraine and Russia. No. We can send our government, the ANC, there, and the entire Ukraine will collapse within a week. Other leaders and emissaries were from Comoros, Congo, Egypt, Senegal, Uganda, and Zambia. Now, just go and look into those countries and decide if they're fit to go and broker peace deals. Of these countries, at the General Assembly resolution, ES11 voted on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Comoros, Egypt, and Zambia approved the condemnation of Russia. The other 4, including us now obviously, abstained from voting. Critics wondered how a continent that had failed to silence guns in its backyard could broker peace abroad. Good question. Critics are spot on. The leaders met Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday and Putin on Saturday, minus Ramaphosa's delegation, which was in Poland. The Africa Peace Initiative has been impactful, and its ultimate success will be measured on the objective, which is stopping the war, Ramaphosa said. Really? Ramaphosa can't keep the lights on. Ramaphosa can't stop his government and himself. He can't stop himself from rampant corruption, theft, stealing, destruction, racism that he accuses others of, murder, and all these things taking place in this country that is burning. But he wants to go and broker peace across the world in another country so that he can catch shine from leaders that don't know what's truly going on in his own country. It's evil to the core. And it's not just my country, it's all countries. And I mean, I can delve into the leaders of all these first world countries and give you horror stories of what's actually going on in the background while they posture and try and prove themselves to be these amazing people on the world stage. God sees everything, and every single one of them, whether in this life or after they're gone, is going to have to stand in front of Yeshua and explain. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.